My name is Will Fritsch, and I'm from Hastings, local guy. And I lived in Hastings for over 30 years. And this exhibit is the first exhibit that I've done since the film era. And I'm very happy with the results of it, and I hope everybody comes out to see it. It works really well with the venue here at Great River Road because we're all about nature here, and the shots are all nature shots. And so I thought it was an ideal exhibit for this venue.
How long have you been doing this?
Digital photography is new to me. I basically got serious about it 5 years ago. But photography in general has been with me since I've been 10.
Oh, wow.
And I got into it, my dad was into it, my grandfather was into it, and they were all shooting family type photographs. And then, every once in a while they'd get out the slide projector and they'd entertain the family with the stories that were around the photographs. And that's really what got me interested in photography is the personal use of the camera to preserve people's memories. And it's kind of ironic because that's really what I've come back to after this long journey.
And what inspired you to do all of the nature and flowers?
Well, my first solo exhibit was in Milwaukee 40 years ago. And it was all of Wisconsin wildflowers and landscapes. And so I figured, okay, if we're going to do this again, let's revisit what was successful in the past. And I love nature photography. I love going out to the various parks and areas of natural areas. And I'm always taking my camera with me because I want to capture something so that I can remember the adventure. And that's what we've got here, is images that I took while I was on some sort of a journey to restore and recoup from all the stress and strain and the craziness that you've got in everyday life. That's where I always hang out. It always gives me the refreshment I'm looking for.
Are you self-taught?
Yeah. I kind of had to do it that way because when I started out with a point and shoot. Mm-hmm. It was a roll camera, 127 format, one shutter speed, one lens opening. So unless you had ideal lighting conditions, you were not going to get very good results. So at 15, I was given a view camera. It was my grandfather's brother's camera that he used during the Second World War. He was a captain in the Merchant Marines, and that was his camera that he took on all of his adventures. So I got that camera along with a lot of the prints that he produced from that camera. And because it was sheet film based, you couldn't go to a drugstore and pick up film for it. You had to go to a camera store and you buy a box of film, and you needed a dark room to load the holders. And as a result of that, I had to learn the darkroom work, the camera work, all at the same time. And I was very fortunate because I had a great teacher, not physically, but Ansel Adams used a view camera, and he wrote the book on how to get the exposure settings properly so you could maximize the image that the camera produced. And so while I didn't get into his photographs as much as a lot of other people, his technique is what I studied. One of the things I want to do is I'm going to upgrade my cell phone, and I'm going to give myself an assignment to use it exclusively and to learn the technology of the cell phone. And then probably I've got something to offer people who are using cell phones who need some help.
Is all of your photography for yourself, or do you do assignments or commissions for other people?
That's where I've kind of come full circle. The period from 1978 to 1982, I had my fill of studio work, And I sold so many images, and I know how that works. The whole idea is for the photographer to understand the needs of the client, because the client is paying the freight, so you give them what they want, which is why I found it a little stifling after a while, because I could imagine images that were a whole lot more interesting than what the client wanted, but all right, that's what you want, that's what you're paying me to do. So right now I'm kind of shooting for my own particular, I'm shooting images that interest me. And what I'm trying to do is incorporate the huge gift that digital photography has given the photographic world, and that is, for the first time, well, not for the first time, but for all practical purposes, an artist now can use the photographic technology to interpret subjects. Before, you were stuck with the camera's interpretation, which is why the emphasis was on getting it right in the camera. Because once you got it in the darkroom, you were limited to what you could do. A little burning, a little dodging, but for the most part, what the camera caught is what you had to work with. Well, now with the software that's available, you can take an image and do almost anything you want. I just finished one that is a simulation of an impressionist painting.
Oh.
And because I wanted to see if you could do it. I was studying impressionist art, and I finally understood what it was all about, and I said, I bet you we can do that with a camera now. And I did it with a camera. Mm-hmm. And it's all in the software.
What's your favorite software to use?
The workhorse in my software arsenal, and I use about 5 different softwares to produce these images.
Okay.
But the workhorse is DxO's PhotoLab 3.
Okay.
And the accompany NIC collection. And between those two softwares, I get an image to probably 80% of where I want it. And then I'll finish it up. For example, if I have to make an adjustment on the image that requires layer technology, most people are using Photoshop, I'm using Affinity. But they're basically the same type of a software where you build the image using layer techniques. Well, I hope everybody comes out and enjoys it, and my whole idea is that you don't, if you walk away from the exhibit and you're inspired to go out there into the park with your camera and take pictures back with you instead of the flowers themselves, I will consider this a tremendous success, because they're great souvenirs, and take your camera along and take souvenirs. Take the pictures with you and enjoy them when it's in the middle of winter and you want to enjoy some wildflowers. Well, if you've taken pictures of wildflowers during the summer, have them printed, hang them up, and then get rid of some of the winter blahs.